I'm going to call the 2025 Manatee County Legislative Delegation meeting to order. Ashley, can you call the roll, please?
Yes. Sorry, I don't know. I have Chair Will Robinson.
Here.
Representative. I have Senator Jim Boyd.
Here.
I have Representative Owen.
Here.
And Representative Connolly.
Here.
Thank you. Let the record reflect Senator Gruters is on his way. He's dropping off his children. He's being a wonderful father, so he's going to come in a couple minutes. If we could please rise for the invocation led by Representative Owen, and then the Pledge of Allegiance led by Representative Connolly.
Let's pray. Father God, thank you for your mercy and your grace, Lord. We're so thankful to be here today amongst friends, amongst constituents and stakeholders. Lord, thank you for giving them the time to come here and echo their concerns to us. Help our ears to be open. Lord, we pray, Lord, for our countrymen in California that are suffering from horrific fires. We know a lot about catastrophes here. When it comes to storms, Lord, we pray for our constituents that are still suffering from the storms. We're thankful, Lord, for our first responders, the ones that keep us safe, our military fighting for our freedom overseas. Father God, bless this meeting today, and we pray this in your heavenly name. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank you all for, on this cold day, for us at least, for coming to our delegation meeting. And since the last time we met, our community has been just devastated with three horrific storms. And they hit all of our community, different parts of our community, different types of storms. And I'm very proud of all the people in this room, how we came together as a community to help those get through some of the toughest moments of their lives. I'm sure the focus of our 2025 session is really going to be dealing with storm recovery, because you don't have to go too far in our community to see that while recovery is doing well, we're not anywhere close. And I know we have some of our island friends here today that will certainly be able to talk about some of the devastation out there. So with regard to our session coming up, we're going to be focused certainly on that issue. And look, our area is still continuing to grow, and that's obviously wonderful, but comes with challenges. We see that with our infrastructure, stress on our water quality and our water projects, our water state in our community, and also our education. And so it's certainly incumbent upon our delegation here to step up and to get those resources back to our community. And today is your day to tell us what your needs are. And so we are going to be here for the next several hours. And after we get through the local bills, I'll talk about kind of the time constraints and the procedure here. But before we get to that, I'd like the individual delegations to introduce themselves. And I'll start with our esteemed Senator Boyd.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks for being here as well. I echo the Chairman's comments. Jim Boyd, I represent Senate District 20, which is from State Road 70 in southern Manatee out to the Gulf, and then up north to Hillsborough, and then the eastern part of Hillsborough County. And about 30% of the district's Hillsborough, about 70% is Manatee County. I always kid that Senator Gruters, who's not here yet, stole the bottom half of my district in redistricting a couple of years ago. So I'm still a little bitter about that because I wanted all of Manatee County, but that's okay. He's a great guy. And I just personally want to welcome the two new delegation members. Great guys. We've worked with them before in other venues, and couldn't be happier for Representative Owen and Representative Connolly to be joining our delegation. Thank you, Chair.
And I'll echo those comments, and that'll lead me right into Representative Owen. Welcome to the delegation. Welcome to public service. I know you were a county commissioner for a couple years, but welcome to Manatee County, and we're happy to have you as a member of our delegation.
Yeah, and it's an honor to be here. As the senator said,
I'm from this community, so I was one of the rare people that were raised in East Hillsborough County. My district is District 70. I represent about 70% of my district is Hillsborough County, 30% is Manatee County. But I was a county commissioner. There's tons of challenges when it comes to my district. A lot of the growth is happening in South Hillsborough County and the parish area. So it's a real honor to be here. I look forward to really getting to know a lot of the folks here in Manatee County. I would consider myself the most new guy on the block because I don't live in Manatee County. I live in Hillsborough, but that does not mean I'm going to treat it any differently. All my constituents are going to be the same. I look forward to learning from these great representatives here who have come before me, and excited about meeting you all and hearing your concerns today. Thank you.
And then Representative Connerly, you have some big shoes to fill. Your predecessor is front and center, but
Rating you, by the way.
Yeah, I feel like I am living in his shadow right now, so.
but welcome to the delegation. We're so pleased to have you as a member representing our community, and you're recognized.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And again, I would like to thank Representative Tommy Gregory, now the president of SCF. I appreciate all the guidance, and I feel like I've got a cheat card when I get an opportunity to speak with Representative Gregory. My name is Bill Connerly. I represent District 72. District 72 is a very large district. I'm lucky enough not to have any incorporated municipalities in it. I don't know how that happened, at least for now. It includes Mayaca City, Lakewood Ranch, Parish, so it's a very broad district, a lot of different issues associated. My background is a licensed civil engineer, and this past hurricane season has kind of emphasized some of the things that we need to provide focus on, specifically the resiliency related to flooding due to storms like that, and that's actually an area of expertise I have. So I feel like the timing is right, and it's going to be an opportunity to provide benefit to the state and our district, of course. I grew up in Arcadia, and I spent a lot of time in Manatee County. I've lived here over 25 years, but I've experienced the benefits of Manatee County. Being in Arcadia, there's not a lot of opportunities to do things that are fun. So coming over here to go to Chuck E. Cheese birthday parties and go to DeSoto Square Mall and actually shop before it closed. But I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to get to work. And one of the things I'm very, very excited about is the opportunity to bring money back to Manatee County. So.
Great, and perfect timing, Senator. Senator Joe Gruters to introduce himself to the delegation and our public.
Thank you so much, Chairman. It's great to be here. Sorry to be running a little bit late, but listen, I just want to say what an honor it is to be representing Manatee County up in Tallahassee. I love going to bat for our community every day, and it is really amazing to be representing Manatee with this group of people. The Manatee County delegation has one of the nicest and one of the most one of the best groups and best delegations, period, hands down. And over the next couple years with Senator Jim Boyd, the junior senator of Manatee County, but really one of the absolute superstars of the Senate when he takes command and ends up being the president of the Senate. We're in great hands, and I know we're going to do some amazing things these next couple of years. So, thank you.
Thank you, Senator. We are blessed as a delegation to have such great leaders like yourself, chair of a great committee coming up. Hopefully, our next CFO. Great leadership on your side. You mentioned Senator Boyd, Majority Leader. You have so many titles. I don't know what to call you these days, but your favorite titles, yeah, exactly, is representing our community. So it's great. We have just such great diversity in our delegation. We have two seniors, myself and Senator Gruters. We have a junior that's rising up as our Senate president. We have those that are going to be future leaders and current leaders in our delegation. So we have a great diverse bench as well. So I'm excited with that. We have two local bills, and I'm going to first recognize our esteemed Clerk Coloniso, to talk about the first local bill.
Good morning, members of the delegation, and welcome to Representative Connerly and Representative Owen. I look forward to working with you in the future on clerk matters statewide. Today, I'm not here for statewide clerk matters. I'm here for a local special act request regarding our historic parks. And the bill is very, very brief, and it specifically names the Florida Maritime Museum, the Manatee Village Historic Park, and our Palmetto Historic Park, as well as the Agricultural Historic Park in Palmetto. So this is a interlocal agreements with these parks between the cities, and I have talked to the mayors of the cities, and I have talked to the chair of the Board of County Commissioners. This act would it doesn't change anything. It will memorialize and solidify our 40-plus years and recognize the successful partnership we've had. We're unique in that in the state of Florida, that we preserve our local history and provide a lot of educational programs to children and adults alike. Many people come here to tour our historic parks, and we'd like to preserve the fact that the clerk manages those resources. We've done it well for 40-plus years. We have award-winning programs, and I have a team of historians and curators that also do that and go through the training. They are professional museum. We're so unique in that respect, and we're very proud of what we do, and we'd like that to be memorialized and recognized in
Great.
the statute.
Any questions for the clerk? Seeing none, any members of the public that would like to come forward and testify on this issue? Did I see someone? You're recognized for 1 minute. Please state your name and your address, and you have 1 minute.
My name is Emily Lane. I live at 5940 Todd Street in Bradenton, and I serve on the board of Friends of Manatee Village. And I would like to second what Angel said. Her staff does a magnificent job of managing these properties, which are so important to our county history. I can't imagine anyone else in the county taking that over. We're thrilled that the idea to do that was reversed, because we want to see our history preserved and celebrated. And frankly, the clerk and her staff do it so well that nothing should change.
Okay, great, thank you. Yes, ma'am, you have 1 minute. Welcome, Madam Commissioner, and congratulations on your election.
Thank you very much. I feel like I'm a part of the history of our state. I'm an 8th generation Floridian. My ancestors settled the town of Manatee, and it's very important to me that we preserve such a unique history that our state of Florida has. And I think that's very important that we continue to support that, because it's one of the things that makes Manatee County great.
Great.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public like to come forward? Seeing none, any members of the delegation wish to make any comments or in debate? Senator Boyd, you recognize.
Thank you, Chair. I don't want to belabor it, but I do appreciate your willingness to do this. Historically, as you said, it's been done by your office for 40 years or so, and I think it's the right place for it. I'm thrilled you're going to do it, and hope the delegation will support it. Thank you.
Any further debate? I'll second Senator Boyd's comments. You do such a wonderful job for our whole county, but especially in this area. And I know this is a legacy of your predecessor, and you carried that along and had it flourish as well. So thank you for you and your team, because your team is really a part of this
Exceptional team.
as well.
Representative, yes.
As well. So I will be happy to support this. And so I'll take a motion to support the local bill as presented by Clerk Coloniso and to file it.
Motion to approve.
So I have a motion by Representative Connerly, a second by Representative Owen. All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? The motion passes unanimously, so the motion the local bill has been approved, and it will be filed. Representative Connerly, would you mind taking the lead in that local bill?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you so much, Clerk.
so much.
Thank you. Our second local bill is regarding North River Ranch, and Sarah Sandy, you're recognized.
Thank you. Good morning. Sarah Sandy with QTAC Rock. I'm here representing Neal Communities in regards to the local bill for North River Ranch Improvement Stewardship District. I'll be brief. This bill amends the boundaries of the stewardship district. It's an existing one located in Manatee County. Would like to thank Representative Connerly for agreeing to graciously sponsor this bill already. It does essentially that amends the boundaries in order to add approximately 640 acres to the stewardship district. we received Manatee County Board of County Commissioners approved a letter of no objection yesterday, and I believe a copy of that has been delivered to Representative Robinson this morning. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have in regards to the bill, but it's a pretty straightforward one.
Any questions for Ms. Sandy from the delegation? Representative Connolly, you're recognized.
Mr. Chair, yes, thank you. Will this allow for the construction of public infrastructure, specifically roadways, utilities, to serve this community?
Yes.
Ms. Sandy, you're recognized.
Thank you. Yes, it will. It will. It'll give access to tax-exempt bonds in order to finance that infrastructure, but finance it specifically to the area that it's being constructed in.
Very good. Mr.
Further
Chair.
questions?
Yes, sir.
Representative Connolly, you're recognized.
These bonds, they're bonds that are paid by the residents of the community, and then these assets that are constructed, the infrastructure assets are then conveyed to the public utilities or potentially the county for roadways?
That is
Representative
correct.
Sandy, you're recognized.
Yeah.
Ms. Sandy?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Any further questions?
No, sir. Thank you.
Seeing none, any members of the public wishing to testify in this matter? Seeing none, and members, we're in debate. Any members wishing to debate? Care to say any closing comments?
Would just ask for a motion in support of filing the local bill.
I'll take a motion by the delegation to file the local bill.
So moved.
So moves, and approve the local bill. Representative Owen makes the motion. Senator Boyd seconds it. All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Please show the motion has passed. So the local bill has been approved by the delegation. It will be filed by Representative Connerly. Would you take the lead on that one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's great being chair, just kind of direct things going on. Okay, that's the local bill portion of the program. We're going to move to, and I have an agenda, and I'll try to call out folks. We're going to start with Manatee County. Everyone after Manatee County, please limit your comments to 3 minutes. And I hate to cut people off, but that's part of my job to keep the meeting going. I want to hear from everyone. And if we have time at the end, those that haven't signed up, please fill out a public appearance card, which I believe is in the back, and hand it to Ashley, and we'll try to get you up at the end. But first up, our esteemed chairman, Chair Cruz, come on up. On behalf of Manatee County, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. And welcome all of you to Manatee County as the first one up. Especially welcome our newest representatives, Representative Connerly and Representative Owen. It's great to have you on this delegation. As was pointed out by Senator Gruters, our delegation has been amazing for us over these years, and we hope for nothing less than from the two of you. I know you're both more than capable of assisting all of the residents of Manatee County. I'll try to keep this brief. I know you have a long agenda. You should have all received a handout here with our priorities. And I'm not going to go through them one by one in the interest of time, and we're going to be up there in 2 weeks. But what I want to point out, what I want to make known here is, in past years, Manatee County has come forward primarily with infrastructure projects. You've seen a lot about Moccasin Wallow, Fort Hammer, 44th, 51st. But we took to heart what Speaker Perez said, that there's other funding sources, and local municipalities should be handling some of these things themselves. So we try to come up with a more thoughtful list of items that truly reflect a quality of life need for our constituents and your constituents here in Manatee County. So what you'll see from an appropriations standpoint is 8 specific requests, 3 of which has been deemed our top priority within our board, is related to stormwater. We've all seen the 3 storms that came through here. Manatee County was one of the counties that unfortunately got hit and affected by all 3 of them. And when Debbie hit over the summer, it truly gave us a sense of where we were lacking from an engineering standpoint and a stormwater standpoint. And we do not have a dedicated funding source for this. And we are working on one, but that's going to be for maintenance and so forth. Some of these are larger projects, but they're imminent projects that need to be fixed. They're residents in places like Sylvan Oaks that need a quality of life and an assurance that past mistakes from an engineering standpoint are not going to continue affecting their lives and their families' lives in the future. So those are the first 3 you'll see on here. There's another 3 that are all relative to the active outdoor lifestyle that everybody in Manatee County expects. It's why you come to Manatee County. We have amazing preserves, like Robinson Preserve, for instance.
Take as much time as you want, Chair Cruz.
Thank you.
I don't care.
So you'll see the Green Bridge fishing is a popular activity here. You'll see the Greenway Trail System. You saw that last year. In fact, we received appropriations from the state last year, and we appreciate your support on that last year. We also received it on the federal side, and we are allocating funds from our parks and from our current funding sources to facilitate that. And we're hoping to get a shovel in the ground for a proof of concept this year for the first leg of that from Bourneside 64 up to Rye Preserve. And the last two you'll see are specific to items that commissioners have brought forward and are really taking a lead on, in part based upon requests from the legislature. The first one you'll see is relative to a Veterans Connection Hub. That's going to be up on Buckeye. The county's already allocated $4 million towards this. This is something that Commissioner Bearden has taken to heart. It's his top priority. I'd encourage you to reach out to him for more information if you have specific questions. This is a great opportunity. We've been working very hard to make sure we're a place where veterans feel welcome and feel supported. We have Tunnel the Towers coming in. They should hopefully be up and running in first quarter 2024 with the land that we donated to them. Just yesterday, we announced a free transportation system to get veterans to medical needs. So this is just one more thing we're trying to do for our veterans. And the other one, the last one, is directly related to the bill 1365 from last year relative to homeless. Prior to that bill, we were already proactively working towards getting our homeless off the streets and getting them the support they need. We had various things like Under One Roof that Commissioner Ballard's been working on diligently for families, because you can't really put families and kids into larger facilities. It's just a safety issue, honestly. But that predated the bill. We were ahead of the request from the state to take proactive attempts. This thing you'll see with Fresh Start is specific to that bill, and it's going to be worked in conjunction with the Manatee County Sheriff and Sheriff Wells. So all these appropriations we feel are important quality of life issues. There's issues that do not have other funding sources, at least not funding sources that are substantial enough to really propel this forward as quickly and expeditiously as the citizens of Manatee County truly want. So we'd ask for your support on these appropriations. We'll be up there in 2 weeks. We're coming up on January 20th. I believe we'll be meeting with all of you that week. We're also bringing our new Director of Government Relations, Stephanie Garrison, who Senator Gruters knows well. And she will be up there with us. She will be one of our leads. It's our intent to expand our reach to working with the delegation as well as working with the municipalities. So we're open to any questions you may have on any of these appropriations. You'll also see some of our legislative priorities, some of which do affect roadways, such as indexing the fuel tax, changing the way that funding comes out for infrastructure, but none of those are actual appropriations this year.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank
you, Chair.
And if it helps in any way, shape, or form, go ahead.
Senator.
Thanks, Chair, and thanks, Chair Cruz, for bringing this. This is not directed at you, but I want to just kind of set the table for the delegation meeting for this next year, and you alluded to it. So far, and thankfully, because of our growing numbers of people in Florida, the economy is doing really well. Sadly, the projection is when I'm to be president of the Senate, that changes, and we'll be somewhere, if we stay on the present trajectory, we'll be somewhere around $6 billion in the hole. So, which sounds hard to believe based on what's going on. That can change, and it can change by a couple of things. One, it can change by controlling our spending as government, which we all should do, and we're going to work really hard at. The other is by just increased revenues that we didn't anticipate. But by The Economist, that's kind of the projection for 2 years from now, so 2 and 3 years from now. So I say that to say, Speaker Perez has made it clear, and President Albritton's made it clear, that member projects and funding for different things are going to be looked at really closely. So this is about $45 million, if my math's right, of funding for Manatee County that you're asking for, which in the big picture doesn't seem like a lot, but when the municipalities and everybody involved is asking, probably most everybody in this room will ask for some type of money today in some way, shape, or form. So I'm the eternal optimist, if you know me, and we will work really hard as a delegation to support this community, as we have over the years, and brought a lot back to our community, I think, as Representative Connolly said. So we're going to work hard for what our community needs and what our community deserves. I say that only to say, I just want to manage our expectations as a group, that it's not just going to be like the past 4 years where we've had almost seemingly an unending flow of money, which is a little bit of an exaggeration, but it's been easier to get things funded. Again, I'm not trying to downplay what you're presenting, because what you're presenting is very important and critical to our community, and we'll work hard for it, but I just wanted to be the guy that at least set the table for some expectations for the next probably 2 years. So, thank you.
Great.
Yeah, and just real quick, and I'll step down. Well, we appreciate that, we acknowledge that, and we want to make sure that you're all going up with the right footing and not over asking and under receiving. So, there are priorities on here. It's outside the scope of this quick conversation, but we will be up there in 2 weeks, and we'll happily discuss where our real pain points are to try to make sure we can fine tune that to make sure all of you are going forward in front of your fellow senators and representatives.
Thank you, bud.
So thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
And I'll just finish because we need this appropriations. Go Irish.
You want to come back up?
I need it all the time.
City of Bradenton, Mayor Gene Brown. Thank you for hosting us, by the way.
Yes, sir. We're glad to do it. Welcome. And obviously, I wish this many people would show up to some of our council meetings to get the true information, not the propaganda that's out there. Sometimes we all see that, but I'd like to welcome you, Chair Robinson, obviously, Senator Gruder, Senator Boyd, and then obviously our new representatives. And it seems like we're going to have that common sense leadership that we want and what we talk about doing. And again, a lot of the things we talk about, and we've seen it over the last 6 months with resiliency and things that we're going to need to do with infrastructure, and it's something that I started 4 years ago with a great council, and as my first term as mayor, in the resiliency and the face it and fix it mode. And we were looking at a lot of things that had happened over our 123-year city that, and we still think we have some pipes from 123 years ago, and that's been one of those things that we've got to really work on and have been working on for the infrastructure. So, and I know that, we had some in last year that would have helped us get to another level of that we wouldn't have got to this year with our wastewater system, because our waterways are very important. And one of ours most important is the Manatee River that we're sitting on right now. And as we go through that, if that river isn't as clean as it needs to be and even better, we're in trouble. And I think it's something that when you look at the Face It and Fix It tour that we're working on, you're talking probably $120 million over the next 10 years that the city of Bradenton will spend and have been spending several years before even this storm season. So I think it's important that we know that. Everybody's going to come up here about resiliency and talk about things of that nature. We're looking at it as, again, to work with the great city council, obviously with the great delegation, and go through things. And at this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Perry to come up and give some of the logistics and of some of what we're going to do, but we look forward to working with you. And I just want to say one thing to Senator Gruters. If he ever has any off-topic questions, I can answer them at any time on other business adventures. So that was a great question when I was in Tallahassee 2 years ago. So some of us that were there know what it is.
I have no idea what he's talking about. Mr. Perry.
Senators, representatives, thank you for coming. I won't reiterate what the mayor said. We really appreciate everything you've done for us in the past and everything you do for us today and in the future, as well as President Gregory, who preceded as a representative. As far as resiliency, what the mayor was talking about, many of you familiar with the challenges faced here in Bradenton as the county seat by the residents ourselves who are concerned with this, by environmental folks in the community that are concerned with it, by our governance of city council, by our professional engineering staff. And really what we have is infrastructure resiliency. Mayor had talked a little bit about that. Some of the problems that a municipality in an urban setting face is wastewater treatment and stormwater and things like that. And you've seen some of the news articles about discharges and flows into the Manatee River. When we have these types of rains, they seem to be occurring more and more frequently, more and more severely, and the need to basically address that with modern technology is fairly critical. Mayor's pointed out that we have and will continue to fund the vast majority of these on our own dime. But I would respectfully submit to you that any modest and generous contribution that you could provide to us in the form of appropriation assistance would go many miles beyond what some of these other projects that have to compete will do. We have to do a better job, and we are going to continue to fund with our money that we use to upgrade our wastewater plant. We have to use all of our ARPA money to do that, and really hundreds of millions of dollars. So anything you could do would be appreciated. We have some of those projects outlined as it relates to sanitary treatment within the synopsis that I provided. Our government affairs people, our local city council, elected officials, and others may be contacting you for support of those matters. We'd appreciate your consideration and anything you can do to help us. You've been great in the past. We're also leading the way with injection technology because, as some of you may not know, we have to be out of the navigable waterways. We can't do a DEP permit to take treated wastewater and put it into navigable waterways by the year 2032, I believe. We are far advanced from other folks. We have a permit. We're drilling wells right now to put that treated water back into the aquifer, as is the environmental solution to this problem on a longer-term basis. We're very hopeful, we're very optimistic and inspired about that technology, really leading our way into the future. So hopefully Bradenton will be winning awards, quite frankly, in the future about that. But we do have to deal with this overcapacity from the rains and the storms. We're familiar with what happened this summer with the 3 storms and the rainfall. The second issue, and the second major issue that we hear about, is transportation infrastructure. And really the transportation infrastructure in an urban municipal government is considerably different than our counterparts and neighbors in the county. We have expansion out on the east side. You've been very generous in funding that and the like, and we support it as well locally. However, when we look at the impact of some of the major state roads, whether it's 301 and some of these other things that kind of spur off of 275 and I-75, they have major impacts on our local transportation infrastructure. And if you're down here in downtown Bradenton during certain hours, it's pretty congested. It leads to lost productivity, loss of economic growth, loss of time, quality of life, and traffic safety. And so we've put together some solutions to try to mitigate that from a local roads perspective and try to basically provide a certain degree of relief. No one simple solution will fix all of that, but it will individually contribute to assist in that. So those are the 2 priorities that we believe fit within the contours and the 4 corners of the resiliency document. That's what we've been asking for in support. Appreciate everything you've done for us. Great to host you. Thank you for coming to Bradenton.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. Appreciate it.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Conley.
Just a couple questions, Mr. Perry. Actually, 3 questions.
Yes, sir, Senator.
I'm not a senator.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I appreciate the promotion. I'm barely a representative, so.
I should have known too, right? Yeah, I get it.
With regard to the sanitary sewer, I see a statement related to underserved areas. Again, 3 questions. Is the wastewater treatment plants for the city of Bradenton, are they advanced treatment? The other is, are any of the programs related to septic to sewer? And the third is what's being done to address the I&I that you mentioned that impacts the sanitary sewer when there's a storm event?
Right. Let me take the last one first, which is the I&I. Really, we process about 5 to 6 million gallons that goes out through our distribution system every day. Since it's a closed loop, that's what should come back, right? But in storm and high water rain events, we get back in 25 to 30 million gallons. So we have substantial inflow and infiltration problems because of the old pipes, clay, ducted iron, manholes, and I have photographs of all this that have corroded. They were built in the 1920s, some of them, and the like. So all that rainwater comes in. We have basically taken, I believe, 65 miles of what we believe is graded as class 1 compromised piping, and we've replaced it by inspecting the lines, prioritizing which lines need the lining the quickest, and we line those with technology that's good and guaranteed for about 50 miles. We have to complete the 65-mile loop of the graded 1 compromised pipe. We've used, I think, about 25 million already of a variety of different funds to address that issue with lining. That will help significantly.
Right, I know you and I like to talk about this, but it might be boring to some of the other folks.
Right,
I
right.
think I need to circle back with
Yeah.
you and have a more in-depth discussion.
I'd love to do.
Yeah.
Oh, the other, just a simple question, the advanced treatment, is the city?
We
have-
are advanced treatment, yes, sir.
Very good, thank you.
Great.
Thanks, and I'd love to have a more extended conversation with you.
Absolutely,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Town of Longboat Key is up next, followed by the City of Holmes Beach, and then our school board. Mayor, good morning.
Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome Representatives Connolly and Owen. We look forward to getting to know you on Longboat. I want to thank you for the opportunity to share our concerns with this delegation in advance to the 2025 legislative session. As I told the Sarasota delegation last month, sorry, Senator Gruder, some of this will sound a little bit familiar. This is my 5th visit as Longboat Key Mayor to this important event. Longboat has a unique opportunity to exist in 2 counties to understand and assist with each with the pressing issues we face. Now, after years of dodging bullets, Longboat Key took a direct hit over recent months from the combination of Hurricanes Debbie, Helene, and Milton. They damaged over 2,700 structures on Longboat, many of which were destroyed. It moved 60% of our beach and all of our protective dunes onto Gulf of Mexico Drive or beyond, meaning further east, and has stressed our ability to respond and function almost to the breaking point. Due to the efforts of many, we have taken remarkable strides towards recovery, and I want to thank in particular Senator Boyd for some communications you and I had that helped with debris removal. But though our residents and businesses have shown tremendous grit and determination in the rebuilding process, many just can't do it. With an average age over 70 on Longboat, many residents don't have the strength or the resources to restore their properties again. One resident of the North End told me recently that he began to rebuild his modest home, but learned some months into the prospect, many thousands of dollars, that the project would cost 3 times what he expected, and now he's stuck. Many are in the same boat, many others in low-lying neighborhoods, and first-floor condos are just moving out. Now, Longboat shares this dilemma with all the barrier islands to the north and south of us, and while cleanup from our recent storms seems promising on the surface, the longer-term effects are already becoming apparent and may prove devastating as residents and prospective residents reevaluate where they can safely live. Sanibel Island, a short distance further south, has restored barely 20% of its economy since Hurricane Ian made landfall there more than 2 years ago. So as I mentioned at the Sarasota delegation, we're in the middle of extensive programs in 3 of our lowest lying neighborhoods to mitigate the effect of tidal storm flooding by elevating roads and improving drainage. These are expensive long-term projects, but worse than that, they may not be enough. Our barrier islands provide the first line of defense for the Gulf Coast against the effect of storms. They help drive the economies and desirability of our entire region. And to avoid losing our islands and their residents, we need a comprehensive, state-orchestrated, and state and federal funded plan to raise up and harden homes and businesses, and to protect our beaches. Please help us as our delegation with these matters. I just want to add, we do understand and have in our priorities clean water, affordable housing, insurance, safe structures, and other high priorities, including home rule. And they remain critical issues for us in our region. We would like you to continue to make those priorities as well. Specifically, we have 2 appropriation bills that we have brought to you and we'll discuss further. One of them is for help with the subaqueous line. We need to build a redundant line that goes from Longboat Key to Manatee for sewer. As you know, there was a break in that a few years ago. It's a $33 million project. We're asking for $1.5 million from the state to help with that. It's going to start this coming year. The other is for lift station. This is also in the sewer area. That's a $950,000 request. And again, we'll discuss that more. Thank you
Great.
for the extra
Thank you.
time.
Thank you, Mayor.
Gentlemen?
And I'll mention this. So I chair State Affairs, and under State Affairs is a subcommittee called Natural Resources and Disasters. And they're going to have a committee hearing, and I've charged the chairman, Chair Botana, who actually is from the Lee County area, of having a committee hearing with all local government officials. I think there's about 6 of them, to figure out ways of things we did well in the storms, and things we can improve on from a policy, not a funding perspective, but a policy perspective. So if there's any ideas that you have, certainly contact my office, and maybe we can chat over the next few weeks. We may have some sort of policy initiatives, because unfortunately we're going to keep having storms. That's just the reality of our situation. We're gonna have storms every year, and if there's things that we can be doing better from a policy perspective, I'd like to know them, so we can maybe get some legislation on the books. So for the next storm, things may be a little bit easier for folks out there.
Thank you for that. And we've had quite a few discussions on the commission level and on the staff level with Sanibel Island, and Holly Smith is active in FLC now. She's still the mayor, and with their staff on how to compare notes. So
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Take care now.
City of Helms Beach, Commissioner Schaefer. Good morning. Welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to be with you. To our new representatives, nice to meet you for the first time. We look forward to working with you on our collaborative efforts. I have previously, the city has previously provided our legislative priorities, and in the sake of brevity, I'm not going to get into any detail on those. You have them, I believe, in your packets before you. They address home rule, phosphorus mining regulation, vacation rentals, water and air quality issues, local government revenue, tourist development revenue allocation, plastics reduction, and the Growth Management Act. Our purpose this morning is to simply convey to you that we would be supportive of any legislation on these issues that deals with improvement, and certainly in the form of home rule, a continuation of local rule, local decision making. I'm very encouraged to hear your comments, Representative Robinson, on a collaborative effort with regard to what we can do better in the future regarding storms. I do want to echo the comments and appreciation of hearing an update on the stormwater improvements in Bradenton Beach as it affects our barrier islands being downstream from Manatee River. Whatever pollution occurs in the river directly affects us. And several years ago, we had incredible outgrowth of the Lingbia algae situation combined with red tide. These are issues that local governments have to address and control and mitigate individually, and help in those areas in future outbursts would be greatly appreciated. Our city, our island, as you all know, was battered but far from beaten. I'm here to report that recovery has taken a very successful turn. Debris has been removed, all but remaining vegetation that will be removed from City Field in the next week to week and a half. And what came from this issue and experience that we all, I can only speak for myself for the first time, addressed in being in an elected position for such devastating hurricanes, it's been a learning experience. We figured the best and the worst would come out in people with regard to this, whether it's governments, whether it's citizens, whether it's our city staff. And I'm here to tell you the best has come out. The collaborative effort from the federal government, from state government, thanks to Senator Boyd, Representative Robinson, and the rest, local government from Manatee County, has all been a tremendous resource to our city and to, I believe, all 3 of our island cities with regard to mitigation and recovery. It was a collaborative effort. We had over 32 separate police departments come to the aid of our police department with command centers. We had the University of Texas A&M University and the Texas Forestry Division came at our request to assist in mobilization and logistics issues. They stayed with us, 12 individuals stayed with us on our premise for 9 weeks, assisting with logistics of getting the right resources, whether they were state, whether they were local or our own, to the right places to assist people. So with 100% of our single-story residents affected and flooded, we, like all other communities in the region, have had an arduous task. Life is improving, businesses are reopening, visitors are returning, revenue streams are continuing to return to local business and certainly our community. We had an effort to streamline permitting. We eliminated all permitting fees for restoration costs of all dwellings within our city, and we're at the last count, over 1,100 permits have been issued. So we're very grateful for the assistance we've received. We were all in it together, and I was very encouraged by your comments, Representative Robinson, with regard to an opportunity to be at the table to determine what we can do from this learning experience to circumvent future recovery efforts. With that, I would be happy to answer any questions that any of you might have.
Anything from the delegation? Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Noam.
School Board of Manatee County, I see Mr. Choate here. Chair, welcome. And President Gregory will be up next.
You definitely should have gone probably before myself, to be
No, you should go first.
It's fifth period, right? So we got like 45 minutes. Thank you all very much for holding a delegation meeting. At the school board, we appreciate everything that you all do for our area. And as a citizen, I appreciate everything that you do for our area. And as much appropriations you can bring back and do great things for this area, we'll always appreciate. So want to get in just a little bit about the school district and some of the things we've accomplished this past year. The most A's that we've ever had in Manatee County's history this past year. 2 Title I schools receiving their first A's ever, which is phenomenal. Our graduation rate for last year will be coming out here in the next probably later this week or next week, and it's going to be one of the highest that Manatee County has had. So a really good last year of school in Manatee County. Had state championships, had phenomenal theatrical plays and different things that were happening throughout the county. So we're in really, really good shape inside of our school district. A lot of building going on. Obviously, you all know the growth that's happening. A lot of new schools happening. Several new elementary schools. A brand new, first time we've ever built a kindergarten through 8th grade school out Lake Manatee is what it'll be called, out on State Road 64. So a lot of good things happening in the district. So just some of the things that and we have not finalized our legislative priority yet and passed it, but we did go through a workshop, and this is pretty much what we all kind of came to consensus about. We are a part of, I want to start first like statewide, we're a part of the Greater Florida Consortium of School Boards. That school boards, those counties are from on the West Coast all the way to the East Coast, all the waterside counties is what that Greater Consortium is built of. And as far as the revenue for state funding goes, it's like 55% of funding comes from those 15 counties. So it's a rather large and robust area for us to be a part of, and we love that consortium. One of the things that the consortium has been pushing, we've been pushing for years, is to get full day pre-VPK, pre-K through 12 to be the official full calendar for education. Not just K through 12, but VPK or pre-K, however you want to define it. And the reason why is because you can go and look at some of our data in our county, and the reality is if a child early on, 3 or 4 years old before kindergarten, goes to VPK specifically in a state, or excuse me, in a county school VPK program, the likelihood of them being on grade level when it comes to 3rd grade, being successful throughout and graduating are extremely high, 60-70%, if they're in our schools for VPK. So we do believe that if we could have that state universal pre-K through 12 for the entire state, that I think we'd benefit that not only Manatee County, but the entire state. The other thing that the consortium was one of our agreements on was last session we passed a bill. My time's already up?
It is. I'll give you a few more seconds.
Real quick. That's even more strict than we are at our board meeting. Real quick, the flexibility in times, in start times. So if you guys can look at that, there may be a bill coming about that. Look at the flexibility of start times because it's a strain with our county, with the population, the amount of kids we have to bus,
going north over the river, etc. Start times are going to be a major strain. So we appreciate your time, and thank you all very much for your service. And stay warm up there. Actually, it's not an early one, so you guys are lucky. Maybe
Thank
the
you.
vortex will be gone.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. President Gregory, welcome to this side of the podium.
Thank you, Chairman. It is a little strange, but kind of wonderful. I just want to say, first off, thank you for your support the last 4 or 5 years, for everything that SCF has been doing in this community, and for the growth that we're projecting in Parish. Of course, the growth is already there, but I mean the growth in terms of the construction of our 4th campus. You've already been supporting, as I said, 4 or 5 years, especially Senator Boyd and Gruters and Chair Robinson. But I was thrilled to hear you say, Representative Connolly, at the beginning that you're excited about bringing money back to this area. I know Representative Owen is as well. So we have one ask in terms of a member project, and that's hopefully to get the 4th final year of funding so that we can break ground on Parish this year. And then I've already spoken with several of you about our need for recurring funding. I won't take up any of your time for that this morning, other than to say, you know, the other colleges of our same size around the state all receive about $17 million or more every year than your local state college. So we're hoping with better representatives like Connerly here, replacing that previous guy, that we can get some work done there. It is a pleasure to be here. I'm very thankful, and I do welcome Representative Owen, Representative Connerly to the team. Great to see all of you from this side. Any questions for me?
Any questions? This is why you're a pro. How much time does he have left? A minute?
A minute and 44
Jeez,
seconds.
thank you. Take care, President. University of South Florida. Dr. Brett Kimker, if I pronounced that correctly. And New College of Florida is up next.
Good morning, Chair Robinson.
Good morning, sir.
And members of the Manatee County Legislative Delegation. My name is Brett Kemker. I'm the interim regional chancellor for the University of South Florida, Sarasota, Manatee. While I may be a new face and name to you, I'm intimately connected with Manatee County, as my daughter graduated from the Sarasota Manatee campus, and my son graduated recently from Braden River High School. On behalf of President Ria Law and our Board of Trustees, I want to thank you for all the continued support of USF, and we'll share with you a few highlights from Sarasota Manatee. In order to meet the needs of our fast-growing community, we opened our new Student Center and Residence Hall at the beginning of the 2024 fall semester, which completely changed the nature of our current campus and accommodates local, out-of-state, international students are now as residential students for the first time. We continue to expand access to students in our region to preeminent academic programs available through the consolidated USF, and to focus these programs on local employment needs and partnership opportunities. My particular focus will be on the continued expansion of our early university program through dual enrollment. We have agreements with over 500 public and private schools in the state of Florida. This also includes some homeschooled students across the state. This allows high school students the opportunity to take university-level courses at affordable tuition prices. USF is committed to the entire Tampa Bay region as a major research institution and economic engine based here in Manatee County and Sarasota. I look forward to working with all of you in the upcoming 2025 legislative session. Thank you very much for your time and your continued support, and go Bulls.
Go Bulls.
And go Irish.
Go Irish. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you. New College of Florida, President Corcoran. The senators wanted me to put you last on my agenda, and I didn't think that that was appropriate. So you're recognized, sir. Welcome.
Well, first, I welcome the 2 new representatives. I'm actually in your district, Representative Connerly. I got all 10,000 mail pieces. I thought I had a tough race, man. Your race was the most contested I've ever seen. But anyway, congratulations to both you guys. It's a great process. And despite working with some people, other people are really good. So you're going to enjoy it. Just kidding, Chairman Boyd. I heard your message about the money being tight. But
Just
anyway,
got
I just
tighter.
wanna-
Just got tighter.
I think of Princess Bride every time, having been on that side of the table, where you say 3 minutes, you got 3 minutes, and then I think of the Princess Bride guy where he says, you know, I don't think 3 minutes means what you think it means, because everyone goes over. I will not go over. I just want to thank you guys so much for your support. Obviously, with your, we've changed student life, we've changed faculty, we've brought faculty from Ivy Leagues, from University of Chicago. They all come because they want to be in a place where they say, is there really going to be academic freedom there? If there is, we will come. And so we're recruiting just world-class faculty. The entire experience has changed. We've led the university system despite being the smallest. And I just want to say, on scale, you're always going to be more expensive as a liberal arts college in any university. I don't care if it's Rice, Davidson, that is always going to be more expensive, but it's worth the cost. We have led the university system in an elimination of pernicious philosophies like DEI. We're the only one in the country who's gotten rid of critical gender theory as a degree, which should be followed with critical race theory. You guys should look at that this legislative session. We've also revitalized our curriculum, and we did, as I say, Steve Jobs said, the greatest thing about education is when you merge STEM and you merge humanities, when you merge technology and you merge the liberal arts. And he said that intersection between STEM and the liberal arts, humanities, liberal arts, and technology and STEM is what makes your heart sing. And that's what we're doing. But we're leading the SUS. As a small university, we're leading the SUS and making those historic changes and creating a real academic free, balanced institution. None of it would have been possible without you guys' help. So thank you very much.
Thank you, President. Appreciate it. Lakewood Ranch Business Alliance, are they here? Brittany. Miss Lamont, you're. Oh, oh, I didn't have Casey in my agenda. Oh, Jack. Oh, okay. You're recognized.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Great to see all of you guys again. Welcome, Representative Connolly and Owen. My name is Brittany Lamont. I represent the Lakewood Ranch Business Alliance, over 750 employers in Lakewood Ranch. We've had the pleasure of coming up the past few years to chat with the delegation. We'll be doing that again February 10th and 11th, so look forward to spending some time with you. A couple things I wanted to just chat about. Obviously, we echo the resiliency issues, and so I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but I did want to talk about the fully funding of the FDOT work plan. A lot of the transportation infrastructure projects do affect us here in Lakewood Ranch. I'm sure you guys did see on the news, we once again are the fastest growing multi-generational community for the 7th year in a row. So transportation and infrastructure is really important to us. I'd be remiss from my Government Affairs Committee if I did not mention commercial lease tax and the hope that that will finally be repealed. But the last thing I wanted to talk about was just the access and affordability for childcare. We had the opportunity last year to work with Representative McFarland on the bill that she passed, which helped employers receive tax credits for helping to pay for some of that childcare. Locally, we worked really hard with employers on creating that awareness. I know she'll be coming back this year to just make a few modifications, but it's $5 million over the next few years, and we're hoping to really utilize that so that that continues. So thank you guys again. It's always great to see you, and we look forward to seeing you in Tallahassee.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Casey, are you here on behalf of the chamber? So, Manatee Chamber of Commerce, Casey Welch. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, fellow delegation members. See you have your green Notre Dame tie on. Big game tonight. For those of you new here, my name is Casey Welch. I'm the chair of the Legislative Committee for the Manatee Chamber, and I'm going to do my best to deliver Jackie Dzelski's remarks on behalf of the chamber. The more than 2,000 members representing approximately 90,000 employees, thank you for your service to our community. We strive to be the voice of the business as you consider legislation that impacts our economy in the greater Manatee County region and Florida as a whole. Currently, the Chamber's Legislative Committee is meeting to finalize our agenda for the upcoming session, which we look forward to presenting to you all in person next week, if we don't have pancakes and politics before then, Senator. This delegation has demonstrated tremendous leadership and support to our community, and we applaud your efforts to address the business concerns of many of the issues for 2024 and the more work to be done with this year. As no surprise to you all, top of mind for our local businesses are the ongoing and critical recovery needs due to Debbie, Helene, and Milton, the impacts to our infrastructure, tourism market, property, workforce, insurance have yet to be fully measured, and we will continue to report those to you. There's great concern on the property insurance front, which is a top priority of our chamber,
even prior to the past hurricane season. In addition to these issues, we look forward to sharing specifics related to our priority areas of business and community resiliency, economic development, education and workforce innovation, health and workforce wellness, transportation and infrastructure, and tax and regulation. So again, I thank you for the opportunity to speak with you and look forward to seeing you all in Tallahassee.
Thank you. Minnesota League of Cities. Ms. Bishop, you're recognized. And the Manatee County Habitat for Humanity is up next.
Good morning, Delegate Robinson. Gentlemen, thank you so much for allowing us to be here this morning. We represent the 9 cities from Northport to Palmetto, so obviously we have a large focus. You have already received our legislative priorities, and I urge you please to review that document at length. I can tell you personally that one of our highest priorities on that list is property insurance reform. I can tell you personally that at the top of that list is please find a way to limit claim duration processes. I am one of the 2,600 homes on Longboat Key that will be bulldozed within the next month, and I get to start all over building a new house. I can tell you claims adjusters were on scene very quickly, and then there's been a lot of silence. I can also tell you that my dear friend Holly Smith from from South, who experienced this with Hurricane Idalia during the nightmare in her community, 2.5 years out, is still waiting for relief from her own personal insurance. So please, please, guys, this is critical. The other serious problem we have continued to have on Longboat is unsubstantiated cancellation of policies, and that continues to be a problem even today. I can tell you that we all are greatly relieved that our good senator is there, and Senator Boyd understands insurance better than probably anyone else in Tallahassee. And Jim, please, anything you can do to help move this process forward so we are no longer suffering under those issues. The other issue that is particularly important to the League are the issues of short-term rentals. I am delighted that we have Delegate Owen, who has worked at the local level and understands the problem of short-term rentals. There is nothing like having a fraternity party break out in your next-door neighbor's house and the entire community is impacted in a negative fashion. The other interesting problem that has been created with short-term rentals is most single families have disappeared into Airbnb and VRBO programs. If you lost your home on any of the barrier islands and you're looking for a 6-month or a 12-month rental while your house is restored, they're not there anymore because those longer-term rentals are no longer available. And if you're trying to find employees for the barrier islands and any of our communities, when they are first coming into the community, they have a hard time finding a place to live. So short-term rentals and affordable housing continues to be a crisis for all of us, and that must be my exit time. So go Irish. Representative Connerly came to our forum that the Minnesota League holds for elected officials. We greatly appreciated it, and we are very honored to have you both on board.
Thank you, Ms. Bishop. Yes. Senator Boyd. Ms. Bishop, Ms. Bishop, 1 second.
Ms. Bishop, this is more general, and I'll be very brief because we could talk all day about insurance, but since you brought it up, I do want to mention, and Casey did as well, and others, obviously it's top of mind with so many. We did a lot in 22 in the special session to bring about insurance reform. Those things are starting to show positive signs in a variety of ways that we could go into later. We also did a lot that next session in terms of insurer accountability. In other words, do what you say you're going to do when you sign a contract with someone. Not knowing specifics, I won't respond to your situation or your colleagues down south, but there are ways to encourage insurers to respond appropriately if they're not. And we've got access to, and you do too, as Floridians, to the CFO's team, consumer advocates, and a variety of resources that can help move things along if they're stalled. So I say that just in the broad sense. I believe personally that the situation in terms of property insurance, although you don't see rates dropping precipitously yet, I do believe it's getting better and it will continue to. And these storms, thankfully, did not impact that in a great way, or that momentum in a great way. But I do know there's some problems with some carriers and some claims processes that have been taking place, whether it's flood, homeowners, or a combination of both. It gets a little bit complicated. It shouldn't. It ought to be seamless, and it ought to work to the consumer's benefit and behalf. So let us know if there's carriers that are dragging their feet. We have places we can call that we can direct you all to as well, and your friends and neighbors also. And we want to do that because it's critical in Florida that we have a vibrant, responsive insurance market. Sadly, as the chairman said a while ago, we're going to continue to have storms, and we have to be prepared for those. But when you buy an insurance contract, you ought to, given the parameters of the contract, you ought to expect timely response and efficient claims handling process. So I'm sorry it's apparently not happening in your case, but if there's things we can do to help you or anyone in the audience or our constituents on a broader level, let us know, let our offices know, and we can help direct you in the right ways to try to get some answers. So I just thought that was important to say in light of insurance being such an issue still.
Senator Boyd, I will be calling you. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Manatee County Habitat for Humanity, Ms. Lane.
Good morning, and thank you all so much for everything you do. We're lucky to have you. My name is Emily Lane, and I'm here on behalf of Manatee County Habitat for Humanity. We are celebrating our 30th anniversary this year. It's a very exciting time for us. We construct low-maintenance homes that are built to keep utility bills low and our environmental impact also low. And we sell these homes to families in the 50 to 80% range of AMI with a 0% mortgage. Successful families partner with us to contribute hundreds of volunteer hours to help build their homes, undergo financial and homeowner schooling, and have to put up a $2,500 down payment. It is a hand up, not a handout. We spend at least $20,000 extra on every house with solid concrete walls, metal roofs, impact doors and windows, so they are hurricane resistant. Over 30 years, Manatee Habitat has put 165 low-income families into family-owned houses. We have a 96% success rate, and we haven't foreclosed in a house in more than 5 years. This region, our SMSA, had the second biggest rent increase in the entire United States. That hits our low-income families hard. And to put a face on that, Jose grew up with his own bedroom. For several years, until recently, he was sharing that same bedroom with his 2 children. We just put him in a house, and they all have their own bedrooms now. Latrice and her special needs daughter were stuck in public housing, having trouble getting health-affecting maintenance issues dealt with. They got into their house by Christmas, so 15 families by Christmas. 2 years ago, we built 1 house. Last year, we built 6. This year, and when I say this year, I mean last year, 2024, we put 15 families into their houses by Christmas, and we expect to do the same for at least the next 2 years. We're growing as fast as we can, but we need your help. We'll start infrastructure, that's sewer and water, stormwater management, roads, electrical, on 27 3- and 4-bedroom houses in June of this year. The lots were donated to us, but the bill for the infrastructure work is about $4 million. Manatee County has committed $550,000 towards that. We need another $3.45 million. The total cost of the entire community is about $12.1 million, and our share of the match is 70% of what we need to do that. We're asking the state if you would put up 30% of that cost to put 27 families into houses they will own. We can fund this ourselves, but that means we have less money to build houses and serve dozens of at-risk families to help them stabilize their lives, their finances, and their futures. We've asked Senator Boyd and Representative Robinson to sponsor our request, and we're hoping that all of you will say yes on that request. You should have copies of what we're going to be submitting with you. If you have any questions, we are very much ready to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. Peace River, Minnesota Regional Water Supply. Mr. Anderson, you're recognized, and then Operation Warrior Resolution, you're up next. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman.
Robinson, delegation members, for the record, I'm Richard Anderson, the Executive Director of the Peace River Water Supply Authority. On behalf of the authority and our members, Charlotte, DeSoto, Sarasota, and Manatee County, thanks for your time today on this beautiful, chilly morning. I'm going to talk for just a couple of minutes and update you on what is one of our most important resources, that's our drinking water supply for the region. With state, FTP, and SwiftMud's assistance, we have built one of the most envied and successful water supply systems within the state. In 2024, we delivered an average of 31 million gallons of water per day to the region, to the four-county region. That represents about 40% of the drinking water supply for the region. And I heard a lot of mention already of resiliency, which is going to be a big topic this year. Throughout the hurricane season, throughout all three storms, Debbie, Helene, and Milton, we provided uninterrupted supply of water to the region. So we do provide a resilient supply of water to this region. While the regional system is meeting the needs today, we are expanding the system. We're expanding both the water supply and the pipeline system to meet the fast-growing needs of this region. And I'd like to update you on two projects that we are working on. They're both in your delegation packet. I also have some leave-behinds for you as well. We've been talking about these projects for several years, so they should be familiar to some of you up there. The first is the water supply project. That's going to meet the water supply needs of the region through 2045. It includes the construction of our new 9 billion gallon reservoir and 24 million gallons of additional treatment supply at our Peace River facility. To put that in perspective, each million gallons of water supports about 4,000 homes. So if you translate it into population, that's about 240,000 future customers that we would supply water to within the four-county region. And we are requesting $15 million in support from the state for this project. The second project is our pipeline transmission network. We're going to expand the large diameter transmission system to get the water to the growing areas of the regional system. That is a $138 million pipeline project. It's 20 miles of large diameter pipe. We actually have about 8.5 miles of that pipe in the ground today, and that project, we are requesting $6 million in support for that project. I heard loud and clear what Senator Boyd said. If you don't ask, you can't get in line, at least for the funding, so we are going to be visiting you in Tallahassee and talking further about these projects. We greatly appreciate your support for these projects. As I mentioned, they supply safe and resilient supply, and they offer and support growth. So with that, I'd like to, as always, invite you out to the facilities. We'd love to show them off. Representative Connolly recently came out and saw the facilities. We appreciate your time in seeing that. And again, I have some leave-behinds, and with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Can I leave these with Ashley?
Sure, please. Operation Warrior Funding, Ms. Simpkins, you're recognized. And then NAMI, Ms. Johnson, you're up next. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Chairman Robinson and the rest of the delegation. It's an honor to stand here with you today. My name is Kendra Simpkins Walsh. I'm the founder and CEO of Operation Warrior Resolution. You may have heard of us. We're a local nonprofit that serves military veterans and their family members with mental health services, and we're the leading provider here outside of the VA. 1 in 5 veterans struggle with PTSD, and 57% higher suicide rates in the veteran population versus the civilian population. And the DoD and the VA have released their recent reports, and suicide rates are up, and we're not even at wartime. And here in Manatee County, it's in the double digits each year. And I personally myself had 2 suicide attempts when I was active duty. So I personally know what it's like to try to get care through the VA, and I know that we have to do better for our service members, which is why I created Operation Warrior Resolution. And our trauma treatments are 87% are no longer showing symptoms of trauma, depression. Our clinic is operating in the top 8% of clinics nationwide for veterans. And so we'd like to continue these services. It's shown that improved mental health care is needed, good connections with other veterans. So we focus on providing connections so that veterans know they're not alone and can get continued support from one another. We provide ongoing support with not only therapists, but peer coaches so that they can continue to build life skills and resilience so they can encounter anything that life brings to them. And also last year, the state helped us start a workforce program so that we can start to help them have financial stability and create purpose after the military. And that's been really such a wonderful program that we started, because they come in for employment and we bring them in for mental health services, and they didn't even realize that they needed it, or would have reached out for mental health otherwise. So we're able to provide employment and mental health. So it's been a wonderful opportunity. Last year was our most challenging year. We encountered severe loss from Hurricane Debbie. We had 3 feet of floodwater through our facility, so we had a total loss. But not once did we stop operations. We didn't have to turn one veteran down for services. We still continued, even though we were displaced. And this is what I'd like to come and ask your help for, is that we'd like to create a new treatment facility. But not just a treatment facility. This is going to be one that's nowhere like this is on Earth provides this kind of services for veterans, and we'd like to bring this here to Manatee County. And I welcome all of you to come out and see this facility that we'd like to acquire this next year. It's just here off State Road 70 on the other side of I-75, so please come out and see what we're providing for veterans, and you can see how our services are truly saving their lives in a place that is nowhere else like it here. So first and foremost, I just really want to come here today and express my sincere appreciation for your support over the last couple of years, and especially Senator Boyd for sponsoring our appropriations. On a weekly basis, we have veterans reaching out who are suicidal and can't get help otherwise. So we're able to get them to see a therapist within 24 hours, and they know that they can come see us, and that can happen for us. So thank you for your help in doing that.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Senator Boyd.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say I'm honored to help support your cause, but I remember your story, and I remember the gentleman's story that you brought with you, who had, I think, attempted to take his own life, and it just had such an impact on us. And what you're doing is making a huge difference, not just in our community, but for those lives and those families. So I can't thank you enough for your commitment and what you're doing to save lives, essentially. And I know this delegation will be supportive in trying to help you as well. So we look forward to this next year, and forget what I said to Commissioner Cruz earlier today about lack of money. We'll try to find ways for good programs. But seriously, it's very important what you're doing, and it's just a very noble and good cause. So thank you for doing it.
Thank you. I truly appreciate that. And
Thank you.
together we're going to keep continuing that. Thank you.
NAMI, Ms. Johnson, you're up next, followed by the Central Florida Behavioral Health Network.
All right, good morning.
Morning.
Thank you, Chair Robinson and members of the delegation. My name is Sonia Johnson, and I serve as the lead peer coordinator for NAMI of Sarasota and Manatee counties. NAMI stands for the National Alliance of Mental Illness, and we are the largest grassroots, peer-led mental health organization in the nation, run entirely by peers who have lived experience navigating their own mental health challenges. In my role, I have had the opportunity to see firsthand the benefit of our family support programs. Our Family Peer Support Program is in its 4th year, and it continues to grow. Your funding over the last 2 years has ensured that we're not only able to continue to provide the much-needed peer support and resources to families who have a youth or a young adult experiencing a behavioral health challenge, but now we are also able to provide support to parents in the child welfare system and provide targeted support for fathers. If I may, I'd like to share just a quick success story with you. So we met a mother who had her son removed for substance misuse, mental health challenges, and being unhoused. Within 48 hours of meeting this mother, we were able to connect her to a resource for sober living and stable housing. When she finally had a safe place to stay, she was able to start working on her recovery and make those behavioral changes necessary in order to reunite with her son. As of 4 weeks ago, this mom reunited with her son in their own home, by the way. There were many times when this mom wanted to give up, but we didn't give up on her. We helped her learn and utilize new coping skills, find support from like-minded individuals, and learn to advocate for her needs and her son's best interest. We have worked with over 500 families and parents this year alone, and our community partnerships continue to grow. Community-based care agencies, problem-solving courts, and community providers for substance use, education, resource centers, parenting classes, and so much more. And additionally, we started offering peer support inside of Cornell Behavioral Healthcare this year, offering to be a warm handoff to families who have a child exiting an inpatient stay. And so we are asking you for your continued support of our program in the upcoming year. Our other request is for continued funding for NAMI's free support groups, educational classes, and outreach programs. We have also received your funding for this over the last 2 years, and so we want to thank you for that as well. For this particular project, we have partnered with 9 other NAMI affiliates on this statewide, and collectively, we have reached over 100,000 Floridians this year. We anticipate that number to more than double in 2025. Thank you so much for your time and attention today.
Great. Thank you so much. Central Florida Behavioral Health Network, welcome. Followed by Second Heart Homes. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Latasha Cohen, and I thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I represent the Central Florida Behavioral Health Network, Florida's largest and oldest managing entity. As your managing entity, we oversee approximately $315 million annually, serving Floridians in treatment and prevention efforts. Established by the Florida legislature, managing entities like CFBHN ensure that publicly funded substance abuse and mental health services are available to those who need them most: expectant mothers, veterans, individuals living with serious mental illnesses, and those experiencing chronic homelessness. Our services span prevention, treatment, and recovering, including care coordination and wraparound services, which led to 97% of individuals not being readmitted to acute care services. This vital work is possible because of your leadership and support. Thank you for the thousands of Floridians whose lives you've touched. We focused on critical 2025 priorities such as housing initiatives, school projects, and disaster relief. Those efforts address pressing needs and build long-term solutions for our most vulnerable communities. I also want to highlight that we operate effectively and efficiently as your managing entity. While the rate allowable per statute for admission is up to 5%, we maintain a significantly lower rate of just 2.67%. This rate demonstrates that our commitment to being the best value for Florida taxpayers while ensuring the safety and integrity of those essential services. Thank you for the $126 million recurring funding during the last legislative session, unprecedented in recent history. We allocated funds for medicated assisted treatment, mobile crisis teams, and crisis stabilization services. Collaboration is at the heart of what we do. Across our extensive network of public providers and stakeholders, we work tirelessly to meet the needs of Florida's citizens and maximize limited resources. As we continue this vital work, we are here to support you and your staff. In the coming months, we look forward to meeting with you individually to discuss how we can build on our shared successes. Thank you for your time and partnership and unwavering dedication to improving the well-being of all Floridians. Together, we can create a brighter, healthier future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Second Heart Homes.
Good morning.
Ms. Howell, you're recognized.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
With me is our board member, Tom Tryon. He's also a native of Manatee County. So my name is Megan Howell. I'm the executive director and founder of Second Heart Homes. And we're a nonprofit that provides housing, supportive services, and love to 68 formerly homeless adults living with mental health disorders. We own and operate 12 homes scattered throughout Manatee and Sarasota counties, all without government funding. We have collaborated with local governments, but have experienced conflicts with one fire district, which asserts that we must retrofit 2 homes, housing a total of 12 program participants with expensive sprinklers not regulated or required in similar forms of supportive housing or single-family homes. This demand is likely to require us to sell those 2 homes and even take extensive steps to protect, although we've taken extensive steps to protect our residents from fires. Our organization requests legislative and regulatory relief, so like other nonprofits, we can serve people in need, keeping them off the streets and placing them in dignified housing. We are not here asking for money. We are asking for your help to help provide solutions to homelessness through affordable housing and supportive services through an amendment to language. With the new homeless bill, HB 1365 in action, there is an onus to implement solutions. We've gone above and beyond to provide fire safety protocols within our properties to protect our residents, ranging from safety equipment and procedures to regular training by a retired fire professional. We have provided the proposed language that you have, which has been vetted by our land use attorney and an attorney board member that we feel would be a reasonable amendment to the existing language of Florida statutes 553.8010 and 633.20811. The state law recognizes the need for flexibility and affordability and other forms of residences serving those with substance abuse disorder. So what we're asking for is nothing unique. Unfortunately, the current language doesn't fully extend to support our target population, which is homeless single adults who can live independently and are experiencing mental health disorders. Despite our success in other communities, this is happening to us in one Manatee jurisdiction. We sincerely appreciate your attention to supporting our efforts and solutions to homelessness and are available for questions, as is our legal representative, Mr. Robert Lincoln. Thank you for your time.
Senator Gruters. I will certainly take a look at this. I just directed my staff to put this into drafting for you. And I just want to say, Tom, so great to see you. You were such the pillar of our community for so long in both Manatee and Sarasota counties as the former editor of the Sarasota Herald Tribune. And I'm glad to see you're using your talents to help such a great organization. But thank you and great to see you.
Great. Anything else? Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate it. Moat Marine, I've seen Dr. Crosby back there waiting so patiently. Yes, sir. Welcome. Michelle and Doug Hall are up next.
Chairman Robinson, Senator Gruters, Senator Boyd, Representative Owen, Representative Connerly. On behalf of the Moat family of over 300 staff, 1,300 volunteers, 10,000 members, we wish you a most happy, healthy, prosperous, and productive new year. Moat is also celebrating our 70th anniversary as a homegrown Florida institution, independent, that conducts innovative science, research, and public outreach to help improve our environment, but also strengthen the economy of this state. You've been incredibly supportive. I know Chair Robinson, Senator Boyd, you've been wonderful with our Seagrass Initiative, leading the charge on that. Senator Gruters, you've been incredible in leading the charge on the Red Tide Mitigation Technology Development Initiative. This year we have 4 priorities, legislative priorities. You have a copy of them. They consist very briefly of snook stock enhancement, coral restoration, understandably, as everyone in the room has need for hurricane recovery, including our facility at the historic Anna Maria Pier, the Science Education Public Outreach Center there. But I do want to talk just a little bit about our legislative priority for manatee rehabilitation. There are currently over 70 manatees that are in professional care right now in the state of Florida, with about 60 of them at the 2 critical care facilities in the state. The remainder are at Moat Marine Laboratory and 3 other facilities. Only about 10 of those 60 or so that are at the critical care facility should be in the critical care facility. The rest should be at secondary care facilities. However, there's a bottleneck because we don't have enough space, not enough room at the inn. Over 100 manatees were rescued last year in the state of Florida. What this means when we don't have the facilities for them to help them recover is that either they are going to die in the wild or they will be euthanized. Moat has a legislative priority that we're requesting to establish a new state-of-the-art secondary care manatee rehabilitation center at one of our campuses here, the Moat Aquaculture Research Park. This will enable the state to have the facilities to rehabilitate under secondary care at least a dozen manatees that otherwise would not be able to survive. And with that, I look forward. I know 3 of you are very familiar with Moat. 2 of you, we're going to look forward to getting to know you much better and having you visit all of our facilities here in this area as well as throughout the state. Thank you very much.
Thank you for what you do, Dr. Crosby. And one of the images I remember a lot from the storm was the destruction of the Anna Maria Pier. I know Senator Boyd and I were out there several times, especially and with the governor. and I see it as part of some of your priorities. Am I correct? It's part of your ask, and that building did survive, though, right? I mean, the pier itself was destroyed, and it looked like the planks are gone. Is the building still there? I mean, it's
The end of the pier is built like a, well, I'm in public, but it's built very strong. And so it survived. But the walkway, the pier out to the end did not. We did sustain some damage to the building, but it was built to withstand a Cat 5. And so it will require some recovery effort, as will our other campuses here in this area, as you've heard from other folks that have testified before me about the destruction. You all are intimately familiar. I know Senator Gruters came out with the President Albritton out to visit one of our sites during the cleanup. So yes, our facility at Historic Anna Maria Pier will come back, and we've had conversations with the mayor there. As soon as the city's been able to get the pathway out to the end of the pier restored, we're going to be right on top of recovering that center as well.
okay. Great. So we just want to work together on that issue, because I know Senator Boyd and I have talked about the pier, just to make sure the funding is in the right spot for the appropriation ask. Senator Boyd, did you have something you wanted to?
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Dr. Crosby. I mean, we are incredibly proud to have a world-class preeminent marine research institution in our community. So thank you for all you and your colleagues and volunteers are doing. With respect to the pier, I spoke to the new mayor at Anna Maria, and we talked about it. And I think he was calling you, Chair, about funding. It's a fairly pricey fund for the pier. I asked him if he had spoken with FEMA by any chance. I don't know there's any availability there, but I thought it was worth, at least investigating. So your port, Moat will have a kind of an ask, and the city will have an ask, if I understand it right. Maybe together we can accomplish. I mean, we have to somehow figure out a way to rebuild the pier and get that back operational. But any other creative thinking that we can employ, and I don't know, FEMA's either we've passed the deadline or we've neared it in terms of asks, but I hope there was the city, and I haven't been able to follow up with him yet to see if they had tried to ascertain whether FEMA could be a resource. But nonetheless, it's on our radar and something I want to try to, I think my colleagues share that concern as well, to get that restored, because we're, no pun intended, but kind of dead in the water until we get access to the end of the pier.
Yes, sir. May I offer a comment?
Sure, absolutely.
FEMA, yes, we are pursuing FEMA funding, but to put it in context, we have been approved and are awaiting funds from FEMA from damages from Hurricane Ian. However, as you know, as an independent nonprofit, Moat does an incredible job of trying to leverage and squeeze the most out of every fund that we secure, and we are combining both philanthropic revenue sources as well as other grants wherever we can to leverage those to help us through this entire hurricane recovery effort. We can't rely just on the state funds, as you pointed out, sir. They're not bottomless, but it's very, very important that the state does provide some level of help that then we can leverage with these other sources as well.
Yeah, I was just going to add, I was shocked when I learned of some of the delay in FEMA payments for storms, many storms ago. Hopefully with some changes, and I know Senator Gruters is somewhat plugged in, we can help FEMA understand that there's a lot of backlog that needs to be cleared up, and perhaps this could be one of those areas as well. So we'll stay on it. But I've talked to Congressman Buchanan about it, and I know others have. But it's just unacceptable to me that people from storms ago are still waiting on what they're told they're going to get. They just don't have it yet. So that's,
yes, sir.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. Speaking on behalf of the Alzheimer's Association, Michelle and Doug Hall, followed by Tea Party Manatee. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Great. Hello.
Distinguished members of the Manatee County Legislative Delegation, we appreciate the opportunity to address you today. My name is Doug Hall, and my wife Michelle is one of the many faces of Alzheimer's. She was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's disease during Thanksgiving week in 2020. She's taken advantage of one of the new medications and has been battling this horrendous disease admirably. She will continue to be an advocate for the Alzheimer's community to defeat this disease. I know many of you have been touched by the realities of Alzheimer's and dementia. Florida is at the epicenter of this health crisis with the second highest number of individuals living with Alzheimer's in the country. In a recent Rush University study, 6 out of 67 counties in Florida were ranked in the top 100 counties in the country. Just over 580,000 Floridians are living with Alzheimer's disease, including an estimated 13,600 here in Manatee County, which equates to 12% of our 65 and over population. We are proud to advocate alongside the Alzheimer's Association. With your support, we remain relentlessly optimistic as we propose our 2025 legislative priorities. First, we must educate our community about the early warning signs of Alzheimer's and the importance of brain health. We must raise awareness of what to look for and when to go and speak to your doctor. We're advocating for funding for a statewide public health awareness campaign that utilizes multiple media platforms and focuses on those from underserved communities who have a higher risk of developing Alzheimer's. It took Michelle over 1.5 years to get a final diagnosis, and unfortunately, this is not an uncommon story. Early detection is critical to take full advantage of the new medications available to fight the progression of this disease. Second, we must continue to increase funding for the critical respite services. Over 840,000 Floridians are dementia caregivers, and over 66% of caregivers manage their own chronic conditions. We must support these individuals. Respite services through the Alzheimer's Disease Initiative help caregivers have a break. Currently, there are over 18,000 individuals on the wait list for services. Additional funding to eliminate the wait list is vital. Finally, we ask the legislature to continue funding the Alzheimer's Association Brain Bus. This mobile outreach program travels the state providing information on brain health, warning signs, and caregiver resources. Through support and funding from the legislature, the Brain Bus has been able to travel to all 67 counties every year. So thank you for your support for that. On behalf of the Alzheimer's Association and the over 500,000 Floridians living with the disease, thank you for the opportunity to be here, and we'll see each of you in Tallahassee on March 10th and 11th for annual advocacy days. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Michelle and Doug, thank you so much for your advocacy. I think you've been to delegation every year since you were diagnosed, Michelle, and you come up to Tallahassee every year, and you're saving lives by your advocacy. So thank you so much for what you do, and look forward to seeing you in Tallahassee. Great, thank you. Tea Party Manatee, President May, followed by the Florida Dental Hygienists Association. Good morning.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to see you guys. I represent Tea Party Manatee, Manatee Patriots. Some of you folks are intimately familiar. The rest of you will be, because you'll probably be getting an invitation to speak. So when you see my name come up, don't throw it away. I represent about 1,300 folks in Manatee County, and we're a grassroots organization. And I'm here today to speak on two. Well, first of all, I want to let you know that Kevin Wright is he's number 29, and usually everything that he brings up, I say yeah to. So just want to get that out of the way. And Kevin normally goes in front of me, but today I'm first. So at any rate, what I want to speak to you today about is the partisan election of members of district school boards. I'm going to read this because I always run out of time. Amendment 1, partisan election of members of school board districts, was defeated at the 2024 general election by 5%, carrying the popular vote but missing the 60% threshold. The amendment, sponsored by the Florida legislature, would have overturned the 26-year-old prohibition on partisan school board races. The original amendment from 1998 only required a 50% majority to pass, and at that time we were only looking at about 3,500,000 voters, so times have changed. State Representative Spencer Roach originally sponsored this amendment. This is not about, at least for me, he says, advancing the cause of one political party over another, but for me it's about transparency, and I simply believe that we have an obligation to give voters as much information about a candidate as possible and let them decide about vetting a candidate. Right now, in Florida, the law prevents you from doing that because you don't know who that candidate is. And you might say, well, voters should be smarter than that. They're not. Because we have a Republican governor, if you'll notice when you cast your ballot that all the Republicans were first. Do you notice that? That's great. We need to keep it that way. However, just from the information that I've gotten back from poll workers and others, as we question people, we try and find out what they're going to do on the way in and ask them what they did on the way out. Hey, how'd it go? Hey, R all the way down, man. Trump, yo. I said, well, what about the school board race? Well, first name. First name's the R. No, it's not. That's an alphabetical race. So I think that the thing to do, and we've got to look and be aware that the Democrat Party has targeted school board seats in Florida. I am partisan, by the way. I am not nonpartisan. Tea Party Manatee is nonpartisan. I, however, am not. The nonpartisan nature of the race enables left-wing operatives to end my time. See how they work? It's insidious. I need you guys to support this amendment again. We need to get this out there, and this time we need to advertise it. This time we need to put some money behind it with the grassroots, which I'm committed to do here. And if we don't, I mean, the governor did a great job on 3 and 4. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was a function, I think, of all the stuff on the ballot. We had 2 very controversial amendments that got all the press, and this one did not. And it unfortunately, from my perspective, didn't get to the 60% threshold. Yeah, we got to get this across the finish line, and we'll see what we can do.
Got to. Thank you.
Great.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank
and like
you.
I say, when you see my name show up in an invite, just pick a date, and every Tuesday we'll have you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Florida Dental Hygienists Association, followed by Big Waters Land Trust. Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Shankisha Sizemore. I am a dental hygienist in the state of Florida. I'm also a longtime member of the Florida Dental Hygienists Association. I live here in Manatee County, and I'm an educator at State College of Florida Dental Hygiene Program. And I'm here representing FDHA. We support expanding access to quality dental care. We thank you for supporting 2 bills that passed last legislation. The bills allow dental hygienists to participate in loan forgiveness program if they practice in high-need areas and provide a pipeline for licensed hygienists working in other states to join our state's workforce. For the 2025 session, we ask your support in legislation authorizing a mid-level dental provider who will provide uncomplicated dental services. The provider is a dental therapist, and they would be educated and trained alongside students seeking to become a Florida dentist. The bill sponsors are Senator Jay Collins, Senate Bill 82, and Representative Linda Cheney, House Bill 21. This legislation will extend the reach of public and private dental practices into underserved areas. Many countries and 13 U.S. states have authorized these mid-level providers. Among other requirements to become a dental therapist, a candidate must graduate from an accredited dental therapy program and take the same state licensure exam a dentist takes for the like procedures they perform. Also pass the Florida licensure exam. These providers do not practice independently. A Florida licensed dentist must remain in complete control of the services their employed dental therapists will perform and at the level of which the in which the dentist will supervise them. Florida has the highest rate of emergency department visits in the country for non-traumatic dental conditions for children 14 and younger. When someone goes to the emergency room for dental pain, they are simply given an antibiotic and a painkiller and are told to go see a dentist. However, Florida adults and children simply cannot afford or locate a nearby dentist. I have seen this personally. At SCF, we have developed a Healthy Smiles program. This past year, we saw over 150 children from our community. And of those children, 82 of those kids had gross dental decay. 13 of them needed immediate care. Unfortunately, due to long waiting lists, those children could not get the care that they need. Implementing the dental therapist position will allow for children to have increased access to care by a mid-level provider at dental clinics in our community. I thank you for your time and your service, and I look forward to seeing you all in Tallahassee with my dental hygiene students.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Big Waters Land Trust, followed by Pace Center for Girls.
I won't take it personally. Good morning, gentlemen. My name is Brooke Langston. I'm the Director of Land Protection for the newly renamed Big Waters Land Trust. We were a conservation foundation of the Gulf Coast for the last 20 years. We serve 7 counties from Tampa Bay to the Everglades, and we recently changed our name to Big Waters Land Trust when we expanded into Pasco and Hendry counties. Thank you for the opportunity to highlight the importance of protecting land and water in Southwest Florida. This region and our citizens have significantly benefited by your past appropriations to the Florida Forever and Rural and Family Lands programs. Thank you, but we need more. The combined impacts of Hurricanes Ian, Debbie, Helene, and Milton have demonstrated this need. We need to save more land, and we need to protect lands that can hold hurricane floodwaters, protect our coastal areas, and ensure food security. In addition, we need to provide our citizens and visitors with more places to enjoy Florida's beauty, the reason that so many of us have come here. With thousands of people coming to Florida daily, our infrastructure is expanding rapidly, and we must be smart about where we build to ensure we are not putting more people in harm's way of future storms. It is now more important than ever to protect these critical lands. We need more funding in the Florida Forever, Rural and Family Lands, and Florida Community Trust programs. Within Manatee County, there are numerous properties on the list yet to be protected, like the key parcels surrounding Mayaca Ranch lands, as well as parcels along the Braden and Manatee rivers that are essential to restoring water flow to both Sarasota Bay as well as Charlotte Harbor and all the critical harbors along our coast. Big Waters Land Trust stands ready to work with the state to conserve these lands as we have done before. Protecting land with conservation easements, buying land from willing sellers, or granting funds to local municipalities or nonprofits is the best way to ensure our people are protected from storm surge and flooding while securing our drinking water and giving them special places to recreate. Big Waters Land Trust and our thousands of supporters thanks you for our state's land protection programs and the support you have given us in years past through these programs. And we implore you to continue to allocate more of the Land Acquisition Trust Fund monies to conserve Southwest Florida's special places. Our way of life here depends on it. We welcome you to visit any of these lands you've helped us protect and to show you the value of protecting these lands in our communities. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Pace Center for Girls, Manatee, is up next, followed by Tony Laturo. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much, first of all, for your leadership, both locally, throughout the state, and for your advocacy of all girls. PACE is one of 21 centers around the state. We advocate for the needs for girls. We are a school. We are non-residential, voluntary, and free. Every girl that comes to us has made the personal choice to change her life. We may give her the hope, but she must take the responsibility, attend school, and make a difference. We succeed through strength-based programming, small class sizes, and full counseling. We also have a nurse on staff, so all of their health needs are met. But you might wonder who a PACE girl is right here in Manatee County. Every girl who attends PACE has at least 3 risk factors. 96% have exhibited behaviors that are related to delinquency. But who can blame her? 70% of girls live in a household where a member of their family has committed crime and has been incarcerated. So who are her role models? Well, that's where we step in. We also have 27% of our girls are victims of sexual assault. That's right here in our county. These are all girls average age of 14, victims of sexual assault. 40% actually have a plan for suicide. Not just I've thought about it sometime, but they have a plan. But 11% of our girls have a parent who actually has committed suicide. Additionally, over half of our girls have a parent with mental illness or who abuse substances. So that's the history of our girls and why they need us. They've all been through trauma. We are here to help them get over those obstacles to success. 79% of our girls were failing school, but PACE across the state doubles the likelihood that they will graduate. Reminder, they choose to come to school, and we have a lot of rules. We are year-round, and they must come every day. It is a lot. They are supervised at all times, they're in small class sizes, and they must work throughout their class period and set goals to help them further their education. They stay with us about 2 years, then we send them back into public school and follow them for another year. Our counselors still go visit them in school, make sure that they are meeting their goals. What we're doing right now, we are building a new building. I think y'all know that. Although it's been a little bit of a late start, part of me is hopeful for that because the hurricanes did not wipe out what we could have done. Right now, we have a porta potty. We're super excited. It has been surveyed, and we expect to be in that new building by October of next year. So you'll see expanded services. We'll be reaching out to other counties. We'll have REACH programs going into other public schools and serving more girls. So thank you so much for your advocacy across the state. I also want to remind you, PACE Day at the Capitol's coming up. I know y'all were here last year, a few of you, met with our girls. They had the privilege of meeting with both Boyd and Robinson. You even took selfies with our girls. They will never forget that. And they helped you learn a little bit more about the social media bill. And that has been huge for us to discuss with our girls, how they gave the girls of Florida a voice.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to bring that up. That was one of the highlights, frankly, of my session, is meeting with the girls and talking about that bill and their concerns with it. And if memory serves me correct, the governor vetoed the bill based on that issue. And we kind of resolved a lot of it. So maybe y'all had a great advocacy with the governor's office. But every year I enjoy you all coming up. So look forward to it this year.
April 2nd, we hope to see you. And yes, our girls still talk about that. The fact that they started out saying, no, they can't take away social media. And by the end, they'd each shared a story about bullying or something else. And even they decided there needs to be some restrictions. So thank you so much for your advocacy. I'll leave these right over.
Thank you. Guardian ad litem, Tony Latura. Is she here? Oh, yeah. Sorry if I mispronounced her name. I think I do that every year. And then Stand for Health Freedom is next.
Good morning. I'm Tony Latortu with the statewide Guardian ad litem office, and I'm here to tell you who we are and what we're asking for in the upcoming session. So the Guardians ad litem assigned by the statewide Guardian ad litem office represent the legal interests of Florida's abused, neglected, and abandoned children in the court and community. They are appointed by a judge after a child enters the dependency system. Every child appointed to the statewide Guardian ad litem office is assigned a Guardian ad litem attorney, a child welfare professional, and a volunteer or pro bono attorney from the child's community if one is available. This representation model is national best practice. Our legal representation protects and advances the legal rights of children whose age and other limitations prevent them from making their own decisions. The Florida Guardian ad litem office considers a child's physical safety, emotional well-being, and permanent placement in a stable, nurturing home environment where the child can thrive. We provide zealous independent representation, and our office is the only party to a child's case that provides undivided loyalty to the child. In 2023, the statewide Guardian ad litem office represented over 34,000 children. The Florida statewide Guardian ad litem office appeared in 531 dependency appeals, and of the decisions rendered in 2023, the statewide Guardian ad litem office won 97% of those appeals. This is an indicator of the high-quality, independent legal representation our office provides to Florida's most vulnerable children. 2024 has brought significant and great developments. For the first time in office history, there were resources to represent every child we were assigned. Additionally, in 2024, and in collaboration with Hope Florida, the statewide Guardian ad litem office developed a new mentoring initiative which was subsequently codified by the legislature and enacted into law on July 1st, 2024. Our office works with dependent youth approaching adulthood to identify and connect them with a mentor who is committed to assisting the teen in navigating life as they prepare to start living independently. In November 2024, we celebrated a significant milestone and helped over 1,000 teens exiting foster care identify a stable, caring adult who has committed to mentoring them, and we are always looking for more. This upcoming session, the statewide Guardian Ad Litem office is requesting a much-needed upgrade to its case management and data tracking system. Also to increase Child Advocate Manager compensation, and due to the Federal Reduction of Victims of Crimes Act positions, the office is requesting 12 FTE positions to offset those losses. So we thank you for your dedication to Florida's dependent children and your service to our great state.
Great, thank you so much for being here. Stand for Health Freedom is up next, followed by Citizens for Renewing America. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Bailey Kirkendall, and I am the Associate Director for Stand for Health Freedom. I represent over 50,000 advocates in our state alone. Top two priorities for our nonprofit in Florida are to, number one, we want to repeal the language about the World Health Organization from ruling over our state. This bill was SB 252 that passed 2 years ago. Floridians have lost trust in global and federal public health authorities after the disastrous policies during the COVID pandemic. I urge you to understand that health and public welfare powers rest first in the state. And then the federal government only has as much power as we give them, and that includes the WHO. Last year, Utah, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Ohio have removed WHO jurisdiction. Florida is seen as a free state, and we believe this action solidifies that statement. A simple repeal of 2 lines of legislation or of language of the law would protect our state from overreach from an unelected and unaccountable agency. The second priority would be to legalize naturopathy and license naturopathic doctors in the state. There is a bill coming this session with Senator Rodriguez and Representative David Smith. This bill is actually in my backyard. My husband is actually battling a neurological disease and is having to seek care outside the state because we prefer to use natural methods. If you are not aware, NDs are primary care doctors who are licensed to practice in 25 other states. But Florida is not one of them, and worse because we are one of the only 2 states where it's actually illegal to practice. I'm asking you to change that by supporting the upcoming legislation. When we are facing incredible health challenges as a nation, and again, Florida is seen as a state that values freedom, both bills seem like common sense to pass. Thank you.
What was that Senate bill number again?
I don't have for naturopathy or
no, the
for
first one.
252.
252, thank you.
Yep.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Global Wellness Forum is up next. Ms. McBride, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
Followed by Allison Euchre.
Thank you for having me speak today. My name is Amy Villela McBride, and I represent the Global Wellness Forum, where I serve as executive director. We're a nonprofit focused on creating a healthier world for everyone. So I wanted to focus on 3 areas today related to health, wellness, and informed consent for here in Florida. The first is I would ask for your support of Bill SB 56, which is Senator Ileana Garcia's proposed bill. This would prohibit weather modification in the state of Florida and repeal nearly a dozen provisions in the Florida state statutes that currently allow state licensed weather modification. So this would prohibit the dispersion of any substances, biologics, chemicals, organic or inorganic substances or apparatus within the atmosphere, and basically protect our personal air rights. So we want to be sure that we're in line with the Clean Water Act and Clean Skies Act, Clean Air Act. So we're working on a model bill that we actually hope to see many states to pass, but I would hope that Florida would lead the way in this. So really we're just seeking full transparency and complete disclosure, public oversight, and to ensure that our communities do have informed consent regarding these type of activities that are happening, and also to address any gaps there are with federal oversight and liability so that we can maintain our personal air rights. So please support Senator Ileana's bill, SB 56, and let's make sure we can have informed consent and protect our environment. The second issue I wanted to speak to today was about fluoride in our water system and I realize this is a county level. I would hope that Florida, as a free state, could lead the way in statewide legislation as well. But I'm urging our county officials to ban the addition of fluoride and to mitigate any high levels of fluoride that may be naturally occurring in our water system here in Manatee, which also spills over into Sarasota County. And this would put us in line with our Florida statute 381026, which is our patient bill of rights and responsibilities, which includes the right for informed consent and the right to refuse any treatments. So the science on this has really evolved over the years, and we need to, stay current with that. But we now know that adding fluoride has an increased risk for neurocognitive disease, impairment, including the decrease of IQ, particularly in children, also increased risk for ADHD, hormonal issues, thyroid issues, and even higher links to cancer. So just this past September, the U.S. District Court in the Northern District of California ruled on behalf of the Fluoride Action Network and their plaintiffs, and they deemed fluoridation an unreasonable risk to health of children, and the EPA will soon be forced to regulate based on this. 2 weeks later, there was a major study from Cochrane that also showed adding fluoride really doesn't provide any benefit when it comes to dental health, especially compared to the science we saw maybe 50 years ago. And as you know, Florida State Surgeon General Ladapo also deemed that, continuing to do this is honestly public health malpractice. So we want to be on the right side of this decision for the state. And literally just a few days ago in the Journal of American Medical Association of Pediatrics, there was a major meta-analysis done. So over 74 epidemiological studies were looked at, and again, showing higher risk of IQ decrease for fluoride exposure in children. So we really ask that the state leads the way in this, and also at the county level here for Manatee. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Elise Young is not going to be able to speak on behalf, so I just want to give her document.
Great. Thank you. Allison Euchre, followed by Michelle Martin.
Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Allison Euchre. I live here in I live in Sarasota County, and I represent the Republican Assembly Medical Freedom Committee. And I'm here to talk to you today just because we've reached a crossroads in our history where people are knowingly being exposed to toxins daily, whether it's pesticides in our foods, fluoride in our water, or continuously sprayed chemicals in our air, not to mention the most aggressive campaign in human history to inject humanity, including pregnant women and children, with the experimental COVID injections, where no long-term side effects were studied beforehand. These examples are daily reminders that the most basic of human needs, including food, water, air, medical care, are under attack, and we need to strengthen our informed consent legislation. What have these advances in chemical exposure provided humanity? 6 in 10 Americans suffer from a chronic disease, with 4 in 10 having 2 or more. Our children begin life with constant exposure to toxins, which no doubt are contributing to the devastating impacts of childhood diseases, including neurotoxic chemicals in our food, and then also within the fluoride that are impacting their IQ. My main point in speaking to you today is to urge you to keep informed consent top in mind when you're reviewing public policy and legislation. As new bills come up and informed consent become more focused, use your ability in elected positions to strengthen it into law. I had the great fortune of being terminated in 2022 after a decade of service as a highly rated employee due to my decision to not comply with the COVID vaccination registry. I decided not to show my papers to keep my job after having it for over 10 years. I lived here in Florida and I was a 100% remote employee. The fortune in this, and God's given me a great purpose, it gave me this ability to glean this piece of information and wisdom. As an HR representative politely told me, in the absence of a law preventing us from collecting this information, we can collect it. That was our basis for my termination. The same goes for informed consent. In the absence of a law preventing the subversion of informed consent, those who wish to subvert it will. I look forward to working with you all in support of expanding and ensuring our state upholds the human dignity we all deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Euchre. Thank you for your advocacy. Ms. Martin. Citizens for Renewing America, and then Mr. Wright is up next.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for letting me speak today. In her book, Good Energy, expert and author Casey Means shares why she quit her program when she was in her 5th year of residency. She describes her enlightenment journey about our sick care medical industrial complex, and she said, doctors are incentivized to be more and more specific because that's how they would make more money in their practice. And she said, what ends up happening is that doctors end up having 2 tools, a script and a scalpel, either drugs or surgery. And the result is that a person with, say, a hearing problem might continue to elevate up the specialty ladder, but at no point does a doctor say or maybe even know that diabetes and other lifestyle-related conditions can cause problems with the sight and hearing. And so the patient would have ear surgery to fix a problem that might be caused by their diet, exposure to toxins, and lifestyle. This is the condition that we're currently in. Our healthcare industry, our governmental agencies, and other agencies move forward on a trajectory built on a past philosophy, but nobody's really asking, is this still the best way of doing things? We all claim that we want small government, and we mime that we believe in the right of the individual, but the law doesn't really respect those values. You've heard from people who have dedicated their lives to understanding about wellness, how to fortify and strengthen the body because the body's able to heal itself, and yet educated experts aren't allowed to practice in Florida. This is a misuse of the government authority. Why are there laws protecting the traditional doctors, but there aren't laws that allow other medical options? People who understand the cellular and the whole holistic health. So why am I saying all of this? I want to illustrate the need for a paradigm shift, where our legislation written by a Republican supermajority aligns with our state and constitutional values of the right of the individual. We've gotten away from that. For example, the right to seek the kind of health care that we want. But there's other rights also, like the right to clean water and air. Currently, the state of Florida allows prescription drugs to be put into our water. And I just keep asking, what right does a bureaucracy have to put prescription drugs in our water without our consent? Particularly ones that affect neurological development. The state of Florida allows geoengineering. This is not a conspiracy. It's so frustrating to me when I hear people say that, because it's literally regulated by the law that people are allowed to spray the skies with barium and mercury to protect us. One reason is they think that we have too much sun, so they protect us from the sun. The state allows genetically modified mosquitoes to be released into the air on an experimental use permit. We're the experiment. It's an experiment. Literally, it says you don't know what's going to happen from it. The state of Florida requires mosquito control, which allows. That's not 3 minutes for me, is it?
It is.
Okay. Well, just let me finish this.
Sure.
We have centralized decisions, and those centralized decisions are they're not protecting individual rights anymore. And so I'm asking for a paradigm shift. When you go up to Tallahassee, we deserve clean air and water. And that starts by state legislators having a new perspective on public health. Ask, are we doing it the right way? In order to make America healthy again, we have to rethink how we are managing our health care, our prescription drugs, and our clean air. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. Kevin Wright of the Manatee County Republican Liberty Caucus, followed by Protect Florida Seniors, Ms. Seifert.
I wish my morning alarm clock was as pleasant as the tinkle off to my right.
Like a harp sound.
This year, I will beat the tinkle. Good morning. I'm Kevin Wright, Chairman of the Manatee County Republican Liberty Caucus and Director at Large for the Republican Liberty Caucus of Florida. We seek constitutionally limited government, individual rights and responsibilities, and free enterprise. We believe that less government means more liberty, and we work through state and local chapters and with our member activists all over the country to oppose government excess and demand accountability to the American people and the Constitution. I'm going to present several of our legislative priorities, which we hope to make your priorities. Each of these is explained in greater detail in the handouts provided both today and as a read-ahead than time permits here from the dais. We appreciate this opportunity, and we look forward to seeing each of you again as part of our lobby days in Tallahassee, March 11th and 12th. Florida Sunshine Laws. City and county officials ought to be permitted to exercise the same First Amendment rights that you enjoy in doing your jobs. A good start to prevent the more egregious
unintended consequences in local government, we have observed is a simple revision found in your handouts. Number 2, campaign election integrity. Ensure verification, validation, and enforcement of citizenship. Apply rigorous software verification and the implementation of qualified vote by mail. Expand audit requirements and grant the public greater access to election records. We support giving non-charter counties the same abilities as charter counties to recall local and county officers and commissioners. Finally, and most emphatically, it is time to put an end to the legal laundering of millions of dollars in special interest campaign contributions through political committees. Second Amendment, preservation and protection. Self-defense is a God-given right which is acknowledged in the U.S. Constitution and the Florida Constitution. We have laid out the legislation and measures we support and oppose so that the right of self-defense is no longer treated as a second-class civil liberty. 365-day rule. We ask that you clarify and modify the 365-day party registration rule signed into statute by Governor DeSantis in May 2021. It should not apply to those applying for precinct committee party membership. This was not the intent of the legislature. It was not your intent, nor is it honored by either political party. 5, term limits. We support 8-year term limits for every office at every level of government. Criminal justice reform. Criminal justice reform remains overdue in Florida and needed. Do not let up. The Florida legislature should continue to seek further reforms recommended by the Crime and Justice Institute. Privacy rights. Our Fourth Amendment rights to privacy continue to be abused in many ways. We support the legislation described in the handouts to end this abuse. Personal and state sovereignty. We uphold Florida's state sovereignty as guaranteed by the 10th Amendment of the United States Constitution, giving the states the authority to nullify any federal statute, regulation, agency order, or executive order that exceeds constitutional limits. We propose the establishment of a joint legislative committee to address that. We strongly support empowering parents to have more control of the kind of education that works best for the child. Florida's budget is increased by 28.6%. The Florida legislature must prepare for the inevitable reductions in federal support. The last point. We support free market solutions in licensing and regulation across all industries. Local governments and businesses are too often hamstrung. Again, the handout and our time together in March will illuminate the specifics on this and other measures to be taken up in the upcoming session. Thank you for your time. See you in Tallahassee.
I have a question.
Sure.
Mr. Wright, did I read this correctly? Is your organization advocating the removal of the voucher system in Florida or the tuition credits for private school choice? Are you advocating the elimination of that?
No. No, in fact, I think what we had for clarification, you've read the more detailed handout apparently because it wasn't in my remarks here.
Yes, and that's what it says. It says from what I could tell from what I just read, it sounds like your organization is advocating for the removal of the Florida tax credit scholarships.
No, the devil's always in the details, just like many of the things we talked about today, it's the wording. Fundamentally, absolutely not. But are there some things where it provides maybe some benefit to some other than others right there? The bottom line is we are for education choice, whether it's non-public education like homeschooling, anything, whatever allows the parents to have the greatest choices and use the tax monies, but no.
Okay, so you're for total, complete parental choice.
Yes.
Thank you.
With regards to education.
Thank you.
Yep.
Protect Florida Seniors. Is Ms. Seifert here? We'll move on to J&M Support Coordinator Services. Melissa Mendiza. Followed by For All the People, Paul Dutcher. Good morning. I'm sorry about that.
Sounds like Smith. Oh, an easy one. Thanks for coming up, Nadia. Hi, my name's Melissa Mazeda, and this is Nadia McKinnon, who's joining me up here. And as you can see on the list that I have on here about understanding developmental disabilities and how you can help. And my job is going into people's homes to get to know them, but not just once or twice, but like over the course of many years. I've been doing this for 3 decades now. So getting to know folks who have developmental disabilities and the best, most effective way to be able to help them and what their needs and their families' needs are. And developmental disabilities is a very small subset of the disability population. The state Agency for Persons with Disabilities, only serves people with developmental disabilities. It actually would be more aptly named if it was the Agency for Persons with Developmental Disabilities, the APDD. And having a developmental disability is lifelong, and it is a hard road. There is a lot of struggle involved with that, and one of the things that folks with developmental disabilities don't need is more hoops and obstacles to jump through. And one of the things that's been going on has been something with the Medicaid unwinding. And folks like Nadia, who are served by the Agency for Persons with Disabilities and the programs that they receive, the Medicaid is the basis for that program. And with the unwinding that has been going on, people have been taken off of Medicaid, but it doesn't mean that they no longer have a developmental disability or that they're no longer a client of APD. What it means is that the providers who are working and serving them and helping them get out of bed in the morning and get meals and get to where they need to go means that those providers are not getting paid in the meantime. And Senator Gruters, your office, Jeremy and Vicki, have been very helpful in restoring a number of Medicaids, like probably over 40 at this point. And Senator Boyd, your office, has also helped out with doing that. But I think that there are probably better uses of your legislative aid's times than having to help get Medicaid restored for people who need it for the rest of their life. So there's less than 36,000 people on this program who have been mixed in with over 5 million Medicaid recipients. So they should have actually been like taken out of that group and not unwound from Medicaid. So that's something that has been going on for a while. And the inefficiencies of that whole thing is actually costing us more than just providing the services that they need. The other thing, and I was remiss in giving this to your aide to put in your packet, but there was funding that was proposed last year by the Senate. It came late. It was just proposed in budget conference, but it was $50 million that was to help increase the provider workforce. There's definitely a shortage of that for folks that are being served by APD. And I asked if you could please advocate for that this year. It was something that Chair Broxson last year had come up with, and with Brooke McKnight, and that would be very helpful in helping to not just enhance the provider pool, but also the quality of it. So on that note, developmental disabilities, different than just general disabilities, the Medicaid unwinding, and that $50 million. If you guys could advocate for that, that would be great. And the next person that you have up has asked me to read for him. Are you coming up, Paul? Okay. All right, wonderful.
Hello, sir.
This is Paul Dutcher, and so I'm gonna read what he wrote. Hello, I'm Paul Dutcher. I was born with cerebral palsy, went to the first special ed class in Ohio, worked hard mainstreaming through school, then 10 years of college, becoming an IT director for 18 years. I worked at Fullerton College DDS for 10 years, then Orange County Association for Retarded Citizens, providing both direct support for other developmentally disabled adults. While providing others support, I became involved many times in reporting abuse to authorities. When I moved to Florida in March of 2018, I found myself in need to report to APS. I found it almost impossible to get an investigator to contact me, and when they did, they told me if there's any emergency, call 911, otherwise don't report to us. 6 years later, an investigator shows up to tell me that they don't enforce those laws. The agreed on national statistic is that 90% of people with developmental disabilities are abused and or exploited in their lifetimes, but it's exceedingly rare for investigations to take place, let alone convictions. This leaves society to believe that abuse and exploitation of our population is okay. It's not okay. Most people in our community can't speak up for ourselves, so this despicable behavior continues. There's a plethora of agencies and organizations that are supposed to protect us, but in the end are ineffective.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
You want to say something? Okay. Are you good? Okay.
Great. Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
Kelly Askred, followed by Oscar De Rojos, and then Elise Young.